Hey everyone, forget the huge, famous temples of Egypt. Today, we're talking about a small one, a temple that survived a 1,000-year fight to stay alive. This temple watched empires fall. It saw foreign armies invade, and it saw pharaohs kill to hold on to power. This is the Temple of Khonsu inside Karnak. It's only 73 meters long and 29 meters wide, about 5 basketball courts. But every stone here tells a story of chaos, power, and hope. And it begins with one pharaoh trying to stop Egypt from collapsing. 3,100 years ago, Egypt was falling apart. The great new kingdom was dying. Ramses II's son was weak. Sea armies attacked. Egypt lost its lands in Syria. People rebelled. The treasury was empty. And the priests of Amun-Ra, they had their own army. They had more power than the pharaoh. Then came Ramses III. He was a warrior king. He fought off the sea peoples, barely. He saved Egypt's homeland. But the empire was broken. His power was slipping away. To survive, to keep his throne, he had to outsmart the priests. And his weapon was not a sword. It was a temple, the temple of Khonsu. Why Khonsu? Khonsu was the moon god. He was part of the Theban triad, the three greatest gods in Thebes. Amun-Ra had a huge temple. Mut had one too, but Khonsu did not. So Ramses III built one, not just for faith, but for power. By building it, Ramses III completed the temples of the Theban triad. He pleased the priests. He tied himself to the gods, and he gave the people hope. Because Khonsu was not only the moon god, he was also a god of healing. In a time of fear and sickness, healing meant everything. Ramses III did not build a large temple. He built a sharp one. At the front was a pylon, a huge stone gateway, 18 meters tall. Its walls leaned inward. The carvings show Ramses III killing enemies. They showed Khonsu giving him power. The message was clear. I am the pharaoh. The gods stand with me. Do not challenge me. The pylon was not just a gate. It was a battlefield of symbols. Ramses III stood on top during ceremonies. He displayed his power. He reminded the priests who ruled Egypt. A giant door stood in the middle, and on both sides, soldiers held spears. It was a warning. Near the pylon stood obelisks, tall, narrow stones cut from one piece of granite, 10 times taller than they were wide. Their tops looked like small pyramids. Their sides were covered in writing. They declared one thing: the pharaoh still rules. Obelisks were symbols of empire. Later, Greece and Rome would steal them. They carried them away. They placed them in their own cities as trophies. We'll talk about that in another video. But for Ramses III, the message was simple. Power still belonged to Egypt. Walk through the pylon, and you enter the forecourt, a wide square space, surrounded by columns. The column tops looked like closed papyrus flowers. Papyrus grew along the Nile. It was used to make paper. But this courtyard was not peaceful. Here, the pharaoh held ceremonies to rally the people, to show the gods were still on Egypt's side. From the forecourt, you enter the hypostyle hall, 8 columns, 2 rows. Some had open papyrus tops. Some were closed. As you walked deeper, the hall became darker. The ceiling felt lower. The walls leaned inward. It felt like the space was closing around you. That was exactly the effect Ramses III wanted. He wanted people to feel small, to feel fear, to feel respect. Only the pharaoh could enter the inner sanctum. The holiest room inside was Khonsu's statue, a statue dating back to King Tut's time, a reminder of Egypt's glory and what Ramses III was fighting to protect. But his plan worked only for a short time. After Ramses III died, Egypt collapsed into chaos. The third intermediate period began. Egypt split in two. Upper Egypt was ruled by priests. Lower Egypt had weak kings. The country was helpless. And then the Nubians arrived. The Nubians came from Sudan, south of Egypt. They were strong. They invaded Thebes. They took the throne. They became pharaohs of the 25th dynasty, but they were outsiders. They had no royal blood. To survive, they had to become Egyptian fast. One of them was Taharka. He didn't speak Egyptian well. He didn't look like a traditional pharaoh, but he understood politics. He spent huge wealth on the temple of Khonsu. He built a new porch with 20 columns. He covered the floor with red granite from Aswan, the finest stone in Egypt. Stone only true pharaohs used. Taharka carved his face into the walls. He wore Egyptian crowns. He offered gifts to Khonsu. He acted Egyptian because he had to. The people loved their gods more than their rulers. If he did not worship Khonsu, they would kill him. This temple saved his life. Taharka's gamble worked. The people accepted him. The priest supported him. The temple of Khonsu became a symbol of his rule. It showed that even an outsider could govern Egypt if he followed Egyptian traditions. But the Nubians' luck did not last. The Assyrians invaded. They drove the Nubians back to Sudan. Egypt was weak once again. Then the Persians arrived. They were harsher than the Nubians. They did not try to become Egyptian. They hated Egyptian culture. They stole Egypt's gold. They mocked Egyptian gods. They killed priests. The people rebelled. They fought back. And in 404 BCE, Egypt won its freedom. This was the rise of the 30th dynasty. Egypt's last native pharaohs and Nectanebo II were fighters. They wanted to make Egypt great again. They wanted to push the Persians out forever. And once again, their weapon was a temple. The temple of Khonsu. They built a Sphinx Avenue, a long path lined with sphinxes. It connected the temple of Khonsu to the main temple at Karnak. Sphinxes were guardians. They were symbols of Egypt itself. This avenue sent a clear message. Egypt belongs to Egyptians again. The pharaohs repaired the hypostyle hall. They used Egyptian sandstone. They added new carvings. These carvings showed Egyptian soldiers killing Persian invaders. They showed gods protecting Egypt. It was propaganda, a call to fight, a reminder of what was at stake. They brought back the Khonsu festival. Thousands of people gathered. They carried Khonsu's sacred boat in procession. They prayed for strength. They prayed for victory. This temple was no longer a political trap. Now it was a war cry. It became the heart of Egyptian resistance, but it still was not enough. In 343 BCE, the Persians returned. They invaded again. They crushed Egypt. The 30th dynasty ended. Egypt became a Persian province. The last native pharaohs were gone. Egypt's independence was over. Also it seemed. Then came Alexander the Great, a young Greek king. He conquered the Persian Empire, and Egypt fell into his hands. Egyptians welcomed him as a liberator. After Alexander died, his general Ptolemy took control. The Ptolemaic dynasty began. Greek pharaohs ruling Egypt. The Ptolemies were smarter than the Persians. They did not try to erase Egypt. They kept Greek culture, yes, but they also respected the Egyptian religion. They worshipped Egyptian gods. They built temples in Egyptian style. They even learned the language. They invested heavily in the temple of Khonsu because they understood one thing. If the people loved Khonsu, they would tolerate Greek rulers. The Ptolemies added bilingual inscriptions, 2 languages, Egyptian hieroglyphs and Greek. Why? Because Greek rulers could not read hieroglyphs, and Egyptian priests could not read Greek. These inscriptions were like a peace treaty. a way to keep both sides satisfied, a way to stay in power. The Ptolemies finished many carvings. They added more color. They made the temple more beautiful than ever, and they turned it into a healing center. They filled the walls with extra texts, spells, prayers, sacred words. Sick people came from all over Egypt. They touched the carvings. They prayed to Khonsu. They believed the moon god could heal them. This was brilliant politics. The Ptolemies gave people hope. They gave them something to believe in, and in return, the people accepted Greek rule. The temple of Khonsu became a symbol of peace. But peace never lasts forever. Not in Egypt, not in that world. In 30 BCE, Rome arrived. The Romans conquered Egypt. Cleopatra, the last Ptolemaic ruler, died. Egypt became a Roman province. At first, the Romans allowed Egyptian worship. They even gave gifts to the temple of Khonsu. But that tolerance did not last long. Rome became Christian. In the 4th century CE, Christianity became the official religion of the empire. The worship of Egyptian gods was banned. Temples were closed. Priests were forced out. The temple of Khonsu became silent, empty, forgotten, and strangely, that saved it. The temple stood in a quiet corner of Karnak, far from major Christian centers. It was not destroyed. Instead, sand slowly buried it. For centuries, that sand protected it from weather, from thieves, from time itself. Then, in the 19th century, archaeologists arrived. They cleared away the sand. They uncovered the carvings, the bilingual inscriptions, the healing texts. They saw Ramses III. They saw Taharqa. They saw Nectanebo. They saw Greek rulers. They realized what this temple was: a time capsule, a record of Egypt's last 1,000 years of survival. This temple is not famous. It is not huge, but it may be more important than most because it holds every layer of Egyptian history, every empire, every invasion, every struggle to survive, all inside just 73 meters of stone.